Hello, everybody. So this week, I thought we would do something a little bit different. Maybe not the most likable idea out there, but but I thought, why not do like a cardio day where we don't have any weights? You'll definitely need a chair and water, of course. And your main goal in this workout is to just be out of breath. Never any sharp pain. So if we're doing squats or something and your knee starts hurting, absolutely modify. But the general goal is to have the lungs and the heart working today without needing dumbbells. So let's get started. We're going to warm up with the normal, bringing the knees up nice and high, shoulders are back, core is active. And I will give you guys faster, more bouncy movements, which you'll get your heart rate up a lot easier that way, but it is harder on the joints. So then I'll also give you modification to slow things down a little bit. You will still be able to go to your own capacity and be out of breath, but your joints will be a little bit happier with you. So you can just kind of pick and choose as needed depending on the day. Don't kick anything behind you. I'm going to get you lean forward and just do some butt kicks. Again, trying to keep those shoulders away from the ears. Trying to feel that stretch right in the front of the legs. Sometimes we just need a workout that'll just get things done, help with our stress, burn some calories, and then we just move on with our day. This one's also really nice to do if you're not at home with your dumbbells, because you don't need them. Just be body weight and a chair or a couch, something that doesn't move that you can sit on is what you're going to be looking for. You can slow these down. And you're going to have your feet right together, hands on your knees, and you're going to do knee circles. One direction first, as big as you can comfortably go. And then you're going to switch to the other way. By now, you should be able to really deep inhale and really deep exhale. Slow that down. And now I'm going to get you to wider stance, so about shoulder distance, arms up at shoulder height, and you're just going to do those core twists side to side. Oh man, it's been an absolute zoo in my house this week. Kipo's cone came off because she was spayed 14 days ago, so she was pretty happy about that. I mean, what puppy doesn't like being taken out of the cone of shame, right? She was very, very happy with that. And you can slow it down, feet about hips distance apart, and we're going to start with shoulder circles. So that was great. Smudge doesn't like that so much because he would just walk underneath her cone and she wouldn't see him. So that doesn't happen as much now. So they're back to chasing each other around the house, which is good for both of them, I think. Eve, however, not so much. So I paid for Eve to go to the vet, like 4 days before I took Kipo to get spayed. Don't hit anything behind you. You're doing arm circles. And so she just went for her yearly checkup and her vaccinations and all that kind of stuff. But it's a decent amount of money. And then I took Kipo to be spayed. And then, 10 days later, she hops up on the toilet. Because remember, both cats are potty trained in my house because they're a bunch of little nerds. And so they pee and poop on the toilet. So this house, there are 4 creatures using one toilet. It can get busy. Cats can get bossy when you're on the toilet. They're like, hey, I need to pee, like move off the toilet. It's a hassle in this house. You can slow these down and your shoulders are going back and down. You don't have to touch the floor, but you're going to reach down, bending to the hips first, then the knees, and then reach up nice and high. So, yeah, Kipo's in her cone, Smudge is fine. I'm training really early in the morning, so I'm brushing my teeth in the bathroom. Eve hops up on the toilet. She's just sitting there. Nothing. Like for 2 minutes, she's just sitting there on the toilet, and she's trying to pee, but not able to pee. She jumps down, and there's like a little bit of blood in the bowl. Ah! She just went to the vet. So I call the vet. I'm like, I think she has a UTI infection. They're like, well, you're going to need to get a urine sample from a cat. Good times. And you're good. If you can, as wide a stance as possible. So not too far because you don't want to do the splits, but wide enough that when you bend into one knee, you can go this depth or this depth, and you feel the stretch in the inside of that straight leg, and then you're gonna switch to the other side. So nice and slow here. So yeah, I don't know how people get urine samples from cats who use a kitty litter, because that would just suck. But thankfully, with Eve, because she's potty trained, just put a little dish under her so that she could pee. And $65 later for that urine sample to be tested. Yep, she's got issues, got to change her food, and here's some antibiotics, and you need to bring her in because they need to check and make sure nothing else is wrong. So I had to bring her in again. Hi, Smudge. And pay for those antibiotics and the urine sample. Coming back, feel free to have some water. So now she's on really, really expensive food. So is he. I mean, obviously, because he's more high maintenance than Eve. And 4 weeks from now, have to pay another $65 for another urine sample to check and make sure all the crystals are going down in her body. So it's been like an eventful week in this house with just the transition of animals and what's going on with that. Okay, so make sure you grab your chair. My chair's in the kitchen. I'm just gonna reach and grab that. So first, for cardio, treadmill, biking, walking, jogging, that's cardio. But when you're doing total body exercises for strength training, you also end up doing cardio because you're moving the body, and that needs fuel, and then you have to take a nice deep inhale and exhale. So we are going to start with just normal sit-down squats with front kicks. So I'm going to get you to sit on the edge of the chair, core nice and active, shoulders are back, and you're going to kick with one leg, kick with the other, and stand up. Kick with one, kick with the other, and stand up. Now, if you are perfectly fine with doing sit-down squats, you have no issues whatsoever with the knees or the hips, you can turn this into jump squats. So you still kick, but then you jump up and you come back down. Obviously, much more cardio involved and strength in the legs. The opposite is also true. If you have knee or hip problems and doing just this is hurting, I would suggest you slow it down even more. Concentrate on these kicks, maybe skip a squat, do some more kicks, and then stand up. Just so you do less volume with those knee and hip bends. So you choose what you want to do with this. And good. Okay, so we are going to be either marching on the spot or jogging on the spot. If you're doing this in your house that you can absolutely run around your house, do that, okay? Go ahead. Shoulders are back. Pull your belly button into your spine. You should still be able to breathe though. I'm breathing here. Core is active here. I'm squeezing those glutes. If you can handle it, a little bit faster, jogging on the spot. Now it's actually nicer on your feet and your ankles and your knees to physically run around your house, okay? It's much more natural. So if you want to just speed walk around your kitchen or your living room, do that. I will stay here for you so you can see me the whole time. But when we do jogging on the spot, jog around your house if possible. Just got a few more seconds left here. Again, watching that core and your shoulders. And you're good. Okay. So now we're going to take just that right leg. It'll be a little bit behind us. Arms are up in the air, and we're going to do knee raises. So it's very important that those arms reach up as high as possible, and you bring the knee up as much as you can. Okay? Go ahead. So yeah, this week with animals was, it was a little much. And then to add on to all that, I was hoping I could just take the urine sample down to the vet, have it confirmed, and then come and pick up antibiotics because she's already been there 3 weeks previous But because she had to actually come to the clinic, that means in the middle of work, I had to go and pick her up and then drop her off. And you're good. Switching to your other side. Watch out behind you and go ahead. But it just so happened that yesterday when I had to take her to the vet, I had my CPR training, which is great. So, you know, if if anybody's having any issues, I just had my CPR training. So if you feel like you're having a heart attack, I'm going to tell you to call 911. But if we're training live at some point, don't worry, I'll walk you through it. I know what to do for CPR. Just a few more seconds here. 5 seconds left. 3, 2, and good. Notice being out of breath. That's what I'm looking for. You're getting back onto the chair. Now, if you have to at any point, feel free to have some water. But your goal is to stay out of breath with your heart rate elevated. We're going to go back to a front kick, pushing those hips forward and squeezing the glutes in that sit down squat. Or if you can manage it, jump squat. So that's the beauty of cardio. Depending on the day, depending on the injury, you know, if you have a knee injury, maybe you're just doing front kicks, completely ignoring the squats. If you're like, yeah, I binged on 75% off Valentine's Day candy, and now I need to really buckle down on my cardio, then you can do jump squats. So it is nice to be able to modify as needed. Let's give me a few more seconds here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and perfect. Remember, you can speed walk or jog around your house. Don't trip on anything. Go ahead. Now, if you do have space that you're like, you know, my house is not clean and it is a hazard to jog around my house, then you don't have to. You can absolutely just jog on the spot like I am. But if you start to feel a sharp pain in your knee, or probably not in your hip unless you have hip bursitis or something like that, but probably the knees will come into play. If you get sharp pain, I want you to just do this, marching on the spot. Way less of a pounding sensation on that joint, so you can really just isolate those glutes and the core and still keep your heart rate up. So don't injure yourself here. Okay, if you're jogging around your house, come back. We're gonna go back to those knee raises. Right leg is behind you a little bit. Arms are up, and go ahead. Bring the knees and the hands together. I want you to treat this move not just cardio, but also dynamic flexibility here and mobility. So try and get those arms nice and high towards the ceiling. Try and bring that knee in front of you to get as much hip flexion as possible. 10 more seconds on this side. 5, 4, 3, 2, and perfect. Switching to the other side, and go ahead. Now, as always with my workouts, you're trying to go to your level. Push your level a little bit. So you are on that scale from 1 to 10. You want to feel about a 6 or 7 on that scale. 60 to 70% of your heart rate max. It's difficult, but doable. At any time, if you're like, man, this is like 9 out of 10, you don't have to keep up pace with me. Slow it down or stop. Sit down, catch your breath, have some water, and come back into it. And you're good. Shake out those legs. We are going to have a little bit of water right now. Don't forget to breathe deep. gonna go back one more time to the front kick, sit down squat, or jumping. If your hip and knee are like, man, never liking those squats, just do front kicks. Leave it at that. Ready, set, go ahead. Now the nice thing about the lungs and the heart is that even though they can be quite weak and you're like, oh, I'm dying, I can't catch my breath, you actually can catch your breath. You know, they have to work harder, they're not used to it, but they can, they are capable of doing it. Generally, what throws you off is your brain. It's your head being like, this is so hard, I can't do this, I'm dying. It's a little bit of a drama queen. Just ignore your brain, trust that your body can do it, pay attention to the physical joints. What are they telling you? And then you trust in them, not that little voice in your head. Okay, so last time here, you're either marching on the spot, jogging on the spot, speed walking, or jogging around your house. If you're doing the marching on the spot, your knees will come up a little bit higher than normal, but you're concentrating on those glutes and being nice and upright in the torso. Generally though, when I say upright in the torso, we do this so we can pull ourselves up. So in fact, what I'd like is the rib cage to just come up and the shoulders to come down. If you're fine with your knees, then I do want you a little bit faster than that, jogging on the spot. And this is how you progress. The first day, maybe you have to march on the spot the whole time and you're exhausted and sore for the next couple days. But eventually you want to try this, jog on the spot for 10 seconds and then march. And then jog on the spot for 10 seconds and then march. Because you're always trying to progress from where you are currently. Okay, one last time. Make your way back to the screen because I'm going to get you to do those knee raises. Arms up and go ahead. Knee and hands come together. You don't always need a piece of cardio equipment, and you can absolutely get very, very specific with your VO2 max and your heart rate max and, you know, staying in these heart rate zones. They're good for sure, help with your goals. But if you're just looking for general health and wellness, the one thing you have to keep in mind is that it has to be difficult. Difficult. If you're reading a book while you're pedaling a bike and you're just like, that's not difficult. And good. Switching to the other side. And go ahead. If you are reading a book and you're like, okay, that's fine. You can read a book. I'm not saying don't read a book. I'm just saying you have to pedal fast enough that you are out of breath, sweating on the brow, and your heart and lungs are finding it difficult to work. On a scale from 1 to 10, a 7 on that scale. 10 seconds left here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and good. Shake out those legs. Grab some water. Whew. All right. We are going to use the chair today. If you absolutely want to do harder modifications, do that absolutely, no problem. But today, I'll give these 2 modifications. We're going to be doing chair burpees, chair step out burpees, or jumping burpees. And you can modify as needed. It'll look like this, just wait, I'll show you how to do it. Your hands can be here if you'd like. If this hurts your wrists, you can make fists so your wrists are straight. You're going to step out to plank. It's very important, watch where my hips are. I don't want you to do this, and I don't want you to do this. You are in a plank position. Both feet are far away from the chair. Your hips are straight. Then you step back in, reaching up in the air. If you want to do faster version, out, in, and up. You can absolutely do this on the floor if you'd like. Ready, set, go ahead. So I'll show you. Step out, step in, squeeze those glutes, stand up, out, in, and up. If you're new to chair burpees, I would prefer you do it this way so that you can pay attention to what your feet are doing. Did your right foot come in? The next time, I want your left foot to come in. Turn it into a brain exercise. Right foot, stand up. Left foot, stand up. If you were doing the jumping burpees, this isn't an issue because you go out, in, and up with both feet. Just really keep squishy, squishy knees so that they're always bending for you. And good. All right. I'm just going to put that chair aside. Now we're going to be doing front kicks, alternating front kicks. If you need a chair beside you for balance, absolutely use it. But I'm going to kick you with one leg, then the other. Go ahead. Now, this one can be a little tricky because our hip flexors are usually pretty tight and our lower back is usually weak. So we're dealing with a lot of issues here. First, balance. Don't fall over. Secondly, the higher you kick, the more lower abdominals you're going to get. But that's directly related to your hamstring flexibility. If your hamstrings are too tight, they won't be able to kick up very high. So it'll be a lower kick. Regardless, I just want you to pick up that speed a little bit. Concentrate on your core. Concentrate on your glutes. Stay up nice and tall. And perfect. Okay, so what we're going to be doing now is arm circles. Big ones, then little ones. Neutral position. Arms are straight out at shoulder height. And go ahead, I want you to make big arm circles. These are not the arm circles that we warm up with. These are as if you're drawing a circle on a wall on either side of you. Your fingers are always touching that wall, but they're big, big, big. You're really trying to squeeze your glutes. Bend your knees a little bit. Keep your shoulders away from your ears. And then I want you to do little circles. Now you can isolate those shoulder blades, squeeze them together. Keep those elbows as straight as possible. Right at shoulder height, watch the neck. Don't do this. Pull it back, pull that head back while you're doing these little circles. Feel the burn, keep going. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just let those arms fall forward and shake them out. You might bend a little bit more forward to get a stretch in your hamstrings and your lower back. When you come out of this, bend the knees, then stand up. So again, if you need to break, absolutely feel free. We're gonna have water after this set, but you don't have to wait if you can't. Pause me, come back to it. Chair burpees, stepping out or jumping. I'm gonna show you a third modification in this one. So ready, set, go. You're either gonna step out, step in, stand up. You can reach those arms up towards the ceiling if you'd like. Or the jumping one that I showed you, out, in, up. You can also kind of combine the two to look like this. Step out, step in, jump up. It's a nice introduction to jumping because it's in your full neutral position and it's a little bit of bounce, but not too much. So feel free to try that out or just continue with the step outs. And like I mentioned before, if you want to do these on the floor, which is an actual full-fledged burpee, feel free to do that. 5 seconds. Give me one more time here. And good. Okay. Alternating front kicks.
Rib cage off the stomach, shoulders are backing down. And go ahead. The knee bends first, then you kick. I don't want you to do this like straight leg, real bad kind of a kick. I want that knee to bend, then you kick out. It'll just put everything in proper order. Now again, depending on your flexibility and whatnot, you do want to pick up that speed now that you know what you're doing, because the speed is going to increase your heart rate, make those lungs work, make it nice and strong. It's a very, very good idea to do that. 10 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and good. Okay. Feet about hip distance apart. You do squeeze those glutes. Bend the knees just a little bit. We're doing big arm circles first. And go ahead. Keep your elbows straight. And watch your neck. You're trying to make yourself have like a double chin a little bit. Okay, because we're going to be like this. Don't have that. You're nice and tall. Slide the skull back so it's in line with your spine. You don't have poke head. You should feel that fatigue now. We're going to turn these big arm circles into little arm circles. Pull the shoulders away from your ears. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. And then do these arm circles. Keep going. Don't forget to breathe. Breathe through the burn. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then come forward. Shake out those arms. You can bend a little more forward to stretch your back and your hamstrings. Just don't fall over. But when you come out of this, bend the knees, roll up the spine, squeeze the glutes, shoulders coming back and down. We are going to have some water before we do our last set here. So if you were doing floor burpees and you're like, if I do a third set of floor burpees, I'm going to vomit. Don't worry about it. Just do chair burpees. This is meant to be difficult for you, but not make you vomit. Okay, that is not my plan. My plan is to prevent heart attacks, heart disease, you know, those kinds of things, not make you have a vomiting episode. Okay, last time, stepping burpees, jumping burpees, or halfway between. I will show you a combination of all of them. Go ahead. Stepping out, in, reach up nice and tall, and make sure you switch the feet. Pay attention, make your brain work if you're doing these stepping in burpees. You can also step out, step in, and then jump up. When you land, you definitely bend into those knees immediately. They are squishy, they're bouncy. Do not lock your knees in place. You can also just jump out, in, up. We have 10 seconds left. And perfect. Whew, okay. You should be sweating by now, okay? Most definitely out of breath after those burpees. Whew. All right. With those front kicks, pay attention to your lower back. If it's starting to be like, man, I don't like the height, just lower it down. Little kicks is fine, okay? Big kicks, only if the back can take it. Don't forget about your shoulders. Pull them down and away from your ears. So if you're doing cardio with a partner, like your husband or wife, like dad, make sure you do this with mom. You should be able to talk to each other like I am to you, but I'm out of breath. I have to inhale every 3 or 4 words. That's your goal. Out of breath, but you can still talk. And good. Feet about hip distance apart, shoulders back and down. Squishy knees, but squeeze those glutes. And big, big, big circles. You don't need weight to make things work for you. You don't have to run on a treadmill for an hour. When you are dealing with exercise and health guidelines, these are meant to keep your heart, your lungs, your joints, your muscles healthy. That's it. You're a functional, healthy human being. And we get a little lost in translation there, turning into little circles, go to little circles, where it's like, I want to lose 10 pounds in 10 days, like I saw in a magazine while I was waiting in line at the grocery store. Or, man, I need to do this, and if I don't do it exactly, then it's not perfect, so why do it at all? We get kind of hung up on stuff like that. Just think about more general health guidelines. And you're good. Shake out those arms. You should feel a burn. That's great. You should be out of breath. That's great. Okay? That's it. You don't have to be super, super specific about things like this. Okay. I just want you to do a couple shoulder circles to loosen everything up. Now, we are going to do cardio and with flexibility. So it's a perfect end to your cardio day. So do have some water. We're going to do calf stretch first. Find a wall or a couch like mine where the toe can go up as high as possible, but the heel is on the ground. My knee is straight. Notice my hips are forward right now. I want you to rotate so your hips face the wall. And then you're going to push the hip forward. So it's not like this. It's not my head is touching the wall, therefore I'm touching the wall. The hip bone of this leg should touch the wall. Not that it will. Okay. It probably won't if you're really, really tight in your calves. But that's your goal. Inhale nice and tall. Exhale, push the hip bone forward. This back leg does whatever it needs to get your hip forward. Lean back. Switch to that other side. Nice and tall. And push that hip forward. Feel the stretch in the calf. On your exhale, make it stretch a little bit more. Relaxing those shoulders away from the ears. And then lean back. Okay, so I'm going to show you two different modifications here. We're doing quad stretch essentially. So quad stretch will look like this, where you're grabbing onto that foot, inhale nice and tall, and you're simply going to pull back on that foot so the knee is behind your hip line, or it might be here, especially if it's really tight like this. Now if it's really tight like this, you might not be able to grab onto that foot. So if this is the wall, you have the chair here, you're far enough away that you lean forward on the chair, you kick that foot back behind you on the wall, and then you stand up nice and tall. You can pull that chair towards you if you need to. So I'm not physically holding on to anything. I'm just trying to inhale, lift my torso up off my stomach, lean back a little bit, but the hip is coming forward as I lean back. So you really get that stretch in the quad. I actually prefer this one anyways, even though I can reach my foot. If you want to come out of this, you lean forward to release it, and then switch to that other side. Nice and high, and then come back. Or again, you can just grab onto that foot. If you want to do a combination of both, you can grab onto that foot, lift a little bit higher, and then release. So you get the most out of this stretch. Just breathe into it. Feel that quad stretch. It should be a really good, sometimes like, wow, that's really tight. And then I want you to try and relax into it. By far, the quads will mess up your hip and mess up your knee. So this stretch, if you can do it every day, huge advantage, okay? We are going to use this chair for hamstring stretch. So I want you to have a wall or couch or something beside you so that it's not about balance at all, because the leg's going to be up on the chair, and then you're going to reach forward. Both hands are going to try and slide down the leg. If you need assistance, one hand will be on the wall as you slide down the leg. If you cannot get your foot up onto the chair, I want you to do the seated hamstring stretch like this. Regardless, inhale, exhale, reach a little bit further down the leg. Deep inhale, exhale, reach a little bit further down the leg. You should feel the hamstring, back of the leg, calf, maybe right behind the knee, probably a little bit in the back. If you're reaching the opposite hand across the body, then you'll feel this a little bit in your latissimus dorsi muscle, which is this guy. Now, I want the torso to come up first, bend the knee, then switch to the other side. Toe is up, knee is straight. Inhale, exhale, reach forward. So depending on your flexibility, it might just be here, and you're just working on a nice straight spine down, because maybe you have issues like scoliosis in the spine. It doesn't want to bend forward, that's fine. You're just doing this, pulling your toe towards you, you'll feel that hamstring stretch. If you can get flexion in the spine, that's when you're working those hands down the leg. Notice I've now curved my spine so I can reach a little bit further down. Breathing deep. The torso comes up, bend the knee, then come down. We're going to stretch the back a little bit here. So I am going to get you to come right on the edge of your chair, wide stance with the feet. Inhale, chin first, tucks in towards the chest, and you're going to collapse forward. The hands come in between the legs, and I just want you to collapse the head and the spine. Deep inhale. Exhale, reach a little bit closer towards the floor. Don't be afraid to bend the elbows. If you have the flexibility, you can grab onto your feet so you can pull down a little bit more on that spine. Do not just come out of this. Stay down here. Listen to what I'm saying. You don't have to watch. I want you to start from the lower back. Take a nice deep inhale. Your hands go on your knees and your arms help you roll up the spine. Lower back, mid back, rib cage, shoulders. Roll the shoulders back a couple times. Bring your head in line with your spine. And just breathe. I'm having you sit here because it can be a little nauseating or dizzy because we're messing with our inner ear a little bit. So once you've regulated everything in your inner ear, then you can stand up. Our last one is going to be a chest stretch. So depending, there's two different ways to do this. You can do a bent elbow, you can do straight elbow. We're going to be doing both so you can see the difference. We're going to start with a straight arm. You can just grab onto a corner of a wall, a door jamb, or what we have here is a flat wall. Face the wall, the right arm goes straight out from shoulder height, and you're going to externally rotate away from the wall. Feet, knees, hips, maybe torso. I have hyperextension in my ligaments, my joints, so I can physically look at you while I'm doing this. But generally, it'll look more like this, and you'll be like, wow, that's tight. I want you to face the wall, stay here, the same arm. You're going to bend that elbow and make sure it's at shoulder height, maybe even a little bit higher. The hand and the elbow are on the wall. Then you're going to externally rotate out. Deep inhale, nice and tall. Exhale, try and push that shoulder into the wall. Notice the slight difference there in what we're stretching. Again, your head's going to want to do this. Bring it in line. Bring it in line with the spine. The whole body faces the wall. Release that arm, shake it out. Straight arm with the left side, straight out from the shoulder. Try and have the hand, hopefully the shoulder does touch the wall, but it does not have to, especially if you've had an injury here. It's probably not going to do that, and that's fine. On your exhale, rotate a little bit more. And then when you inhale, rotate back. This is the same arm. You're going to have that 90-degree angle in the elbow, just a little bit higher than the shoulder. And you're trying to have the shoulder touch the wall, but it probably won't. And that's very, very normal. The hand definitely on the wall, but the shoulder itself probably won't touch. Again, your head will want to come forward like this. So I want you to slide the head back. I don't want you to tilt the chin up towards the ceiling. I want the whole head to slide back to neutral position. Breathe here. Rotate towards the wall. Bring that arm down and just roll those shoulders a couple of times. Feel free to have some water. So see, 40 minutes. We can get total body cardio. We can work pretty hard, get the nice sweat on, and then we can stretch everything out and move on with our day. You don't have to do everything for an hour. You don't have to go high intensity, go to vomit. But that's actually a rare occasion. Generally what we like to do is not enough. And I mean like literally just don't do anything, which is what I'm likely to do if it's the choice between cardio and not doing anything. I will choose not to do anything. But on a good day, when I'm like, Tanya, heart, lungs, they need this, you could just do something like this at your own pace. You know, maybe hurt your knee, maybe hurt your shoulder. Don't let that stop you. Don't be like, oh, well, hurt my knee, now I can't do anything. You still got upper body. You still have your heart and lungs. You can still modify. I give you all the modifications you need to make sure you get something in. Anything is better than nothing, okay? So hopefully you enjoyed this, and I hope everybody's well, and I'll see you guys next week. So have a great sunshiny day. Hopefully it's a sunny day when you're watching this. And if not, there will be a sunny day eventually. So I'll see you guys next week. Bye for now.